We've all witnessed the glamorous lives of famous celebs. However, most of us don't know how their lives changed once they started racking in the big bucks. From desserts flaked with gold to expanding your social circle, here are 15 things that change once you get rich. Number 15. Foods you eat. Once you begin making bank, you might want to start eating out on the daily, but you'll eventually get tired of spending so much time in restaurants and the added calories. Produce can be expensive for the average Joes out there, especially since it goes bad so quickly compared to frozen and canned goods. However, if you're taking home the bacon financially, you can stop taking it home literally. Having more cash will allow you to buy better, healthier foods. No more trips to McDonald's or Burger King, and honestly, you probably won't even have to go to the supermarket yourself. With enough income, you can have your groceries delivered or pay somebody to run those tedious errands for you. Plus, if you aren't a whiz when it comes to whipping up a nutritious meal, don't fret, you can invest in a personal chef if you're wealthy enough to do it. Number 14, transportation. As soon as your bank account starts looking full, you'll probably want to get rid of that used Hyundai you've been driving around town. When people begin making more money, one of the first things to go is the car they settled for and didn't necessarily want. If you can afford the payments on a brand new Ferrari or even pay for it outright, you'll be tempted to trade in the hunk of metal you're used to, and why not? As you enhance your lifestyle, why not improve your vehicle along with it? You don't see many rich folks in soccer mom vans or four-door sedans, and that's because they can finally afford the cars of their dreams. In fact, when your funds increase, you may not have to drive at all. You can pay someone else to escort you around in a limousine. If you're incredibly wealthy, you might even take a private jet from city to city and avoid the long, boring wait time in the typical airport. Number 13, envious strangers. Have you noticed that the change in your checking account has coincided with the spreading green hue of faces around you? Maybe you're feeling a lot like Glinda the Good Witch surrounded by fields of envious wicked witches. Of course their faces won't actually turn the color of grass, but it is inevitable that strangers will want what you have when you start bringing home the big bucks. You'll notice a rise in people asking you for monetary assistance, even companies asking for personal investments. Strangers will badmouth you, call you names, and make rude remarks simply because they are jealous of your success and resentful because they don't possess the things that you do. This can refer to your home, car, jewelry, or other material goods, but also encompasses your life, accomplishments, and reputation. It's unfortunate, but people will show their true colors in situations where they feel inferior to someone else. Number 12, your appearance. Another thing that is sure to change once you become rich is how you look. You might be accustomed to purchasing your clothes at department stores, but when you come into more money, you'll be able to buy the attire you've always wanted from brands you couldn't afford. Your closet will be filled with high-end garbs like Gucci and Dolce & Gabbana instead of H&M and Forever 21. However, your wardrobe isn't the only thing that will change about your looks. Have you ever dreamed of a personal trainer? Have you ever thought, if only I had someone to help me out, I'd have the body I always wanted? It's true that getting in shape can be difficult alone, but if you have the cash, you'll be working with the best in no time. If exercise isn't getting you the physique you desire, money can also buy you cosmetic enhancements such as hair implants, lip plumping services. Some of these might be more extreme than others, but being rich is sure to change your appearance one way or another. Number 11, try new things. Not only will you transform into a new person regarding your clothes, but your entire lifestyle will also change. This adjustment includes moving on to unfamiliar things. You'll be more inclined to try various foods and activities. You might even take on a new hobby. It's true that money can't buy everything, but it will allow you to do things you've never thought of doing before and probably couldn't afford. Do you want to learn how to pilot a helicopter or master the tango? No problem. The world is at your fingertips if you're wealthy. You could hire someone to teach you or sign up for classes you couldn't afford otherwise. Who knows, maybe you'll even give skydiving a try. Number 10, how others treat you. We already talked about how strangers will begin wanting what you have once you start making the big bucks. However, it isn't the only envious thing that will treat you differently. Almost everyone you run into will change how they act around you and towards you. People will begin catering to you, they'll offer to run errands for you, bring you coffee, and ask you for advice. They will also stop questioning you. When you're successful, it proves to people that what you're doing or saying has worked out for you, making them less likely to doubt you. Just take a look at most celebrities. If they've made a statement, even if it's false, people are likely to believe them because they are in position of power. Not only will your bank account grow, so will your influence. This may not always be a positive thing, but when you're rich, there's no stopping the distinctive treatment you'll receive. Number 9, what you'll leave behind. Although you may not have thought about it much throughout your life so far, if you come into some major cash, you'll become concerned with what you'll leave behind after passing on. Most of us don't have the time, finances, or lifestyles in general to worry about our legacies. But once you're rich, all of that changes. Since your days aren't dragging at a 9-to-5 job, you'll start wondering about more significant things. You'll begin to question if you've done enough for society, your family, your friends, and your children. This could be a significant reason why so many famous people have started charities, fundraisers, and schools. There have also been several instances of celebrities writing memoirs. Whatever the case, it's certain that when you're well off, you'll want to make sure that you've left a mark on the world once you're no longer here. Number 8, house. We want to live in hilltop houses, driving 15 cars. Well, maybe you don't want that many cars, and you'll settle for just one hilltop house. Either way, when your finances take an upward turn, your residence is sure to change right along with them. All of the closet space, fancy landscaping, hand-carved furniture, and backyard features you've dreamt of can be yours at last. The limitations your cash flow caused you before will disappear, and you can let your imagination run wild. When you're rich, you can buy a beachfront property or live in the mountains, or both. You'll be able to afford a vacation dream home as well as an everyday mansion, plus the transportation it takes to go in between them. Don't forget about the swimming pool you'll be able to purchase either, one that has all the bells and whistles. If you want waterfalls and fountains, then they're all yours. Number 7, aspirations. Maybe your life goal was to become rich. Well, once you are, your aspirations are bound to change. This applies to the amount of money you make as well as other aspects of your life. After you've become wealthy and treated yourself to new and exciting things, you won't want to revert to how life used to be. Money isn't limitless, so you'll want to procure more and ensure your bank account doesn't dwindle. However, your aspirations change in more ways than one. You'll develop interests in different things. You'll form other goals for yourself. Maybe you want to write a novel, travel somewhere, or start a business. Things that seemed impossible before will be within your means once you're rich. Number 6, opinions of others. Not only will people change their opinions of you and how they treat you, but you also won't care as much about what they think. Since you've proven yourself successful, have what you want, and are aspiring to do more with your life, people's negative thoughts and remarks concerning you will go in one ear and out the other. There's no point in worrying about what others have to say, especially strangers. Although this applies to everyone, not only the rich, it's easier to realize once you're wealthy. People will always doubt you no matter what you've accomplished or done to make their points invalid. It's unfortunate that many of us have to face bullies, but if you're doing well for yourself, ignoring them becomes easier. Number 5, friends. Since everything else in your life seems to change once you get rich, it shouldn't be surprising that your group of friends will change too. This could be due in part to the fact that people will begin treating you differently. Even if you have been close to someone for a long time, they might change their behavior toward you when your funds increase. They might start asking you for material items like clothes, cars, jewelry, and other expensive stuff. It's possible that they'll ask you to borrow money as well. However, this doesn't happen to everyone and will allow you to tell who your real friends are apart from the people who merely claim to be. Once you've separated your real friends from the frauds, you'll probably begin forming new relationships with people you wouldn't have considered yourself compatible with before. Although you're sure to keep in touch with those close to you, you'll discover new interests and want to share them with people who understand. Since your old pals might not entertain your newfound ideas, you'll begin surrounding yourself with a group of friends who do. Number 4, vacations. Have you ever wanted to take a long trip to Europe? Have you wanted to sail across the ocean on a 2-week-long cruise? Maybe you've always wanted to try traversing the rainforest via zipline with a private guide. Whatever your dream vacation might be, once you're rich, you'll be able to afford the adventures you never could before. Vacations are expensive, which is why we can only take one per year or maybe even less. However, if you've discovered that pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, the world is your oyster. You'll be able to pay for not only more vacations, but fancier and longer ones. Even when you're on holiday, we will often pinch pennies regarding eating out and purchasing souvenirs. But if you're rich, then you'll be able to dine at those Michelin star restaurants you've seen on TV and can afford the brand name clothes that have caught your eye instead of just window shopping. Number 3, time for hobbies. We've already discussed that becoming rich will give you more time to do what you want, which includes hobbies. Maybe you enjoy writing poetry, participating in improv comedy, or painting. No matter what your interests are, you'll have more time to pursue them. Plus, you'll be more likely to finish whatever you start. Since the daily routine tends to get in the way of most people completing projects, if you have no day-to-day obligations, then nothing is stopping you. You might even pick up new hobbies. Let's say you've always wanted to try oil painting, but the supplies were too pricey for your wallet. Once you're making bank, you won't even have to think about the cost. Number 2, make your feelings known. Just like you won't care as much about what other people think, you'll be more comfortable saying what you think. When you become rich, your confidence is likely to increase. We often keep our mouths shut when it comes to voicing our opinions. It might be because we don't think our thoughts matter or we don't feel we're in any position to speak our minds. But with the boost of finances comes a boost of certainty and courage, and letting people know what you think won't be so difficult. This also applies to work-related conversations. Although you normally wouldn't question what your boss is telling you to do, if you're still working when you're rich, you'll be more likely to give your thoughts on the matter at hand. Plus, you won't be afraid to say no when you don't want to do something. Not that you should refuse to do anything your boss says, but, well, you get the point. Number 1. Reasons for happiness. Perhaps the biggest change that will come when being rich is what makes you happy. Although you'll enjoy your new ride, your mansion, your fancy attire, and your more adventurous vacations, you'll value the simple things more as well. The time you spend with friends and family will mean more to you. Having strong relationships, built on truth and mutual respect, will have a deeper meaning. Basically, the things you can't buy will make you the happiest. We often take things for granted, and it's difficult to notice this when our schedules are jam-packed with daily chores. But once our time and minds free up, we'll be paying more attention to the things that truly matter. Hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.